And now, All the Dirt, gardening tips and advice, sponsored by the Turf and Gardening Store. Get the lawn you're looking for.
And welcome back. Thanks for joining us for All the Dirt. You know, sometimes we actually don't need to get our hands too dirty. There are some plants we can just say, hey, go, do your thing. And that happens to be wildflowers. And joining us from the Blue Ridge Land Conservancy, David Perry, who's the executive director, and Casey Shiflett. I didn't get your title, I don't think.
Stewardship specialist.
Stewardship specialist. Let's start off first with, what is, David, the Blue Ridge Land Conservancy?
So the Blue Ridge Land Conservancy is Southwest Virginia's local land conservation nonprofit, and we save land. We're out there working with farmers and rural landowners who don't want to see their properties become, full of McMansions or discount stores or whatever, and they can work with us, and we'll do an agreement with them to forever protect their land so we can all enjoy the natural beauty, clean air, clean water, wildlife habitat, beautiful views, all that. Yeah.
So you've got a big project on your plate, but you've kind of broken it down a little bit. You've got an event coming up, which we'll talk about in a few minutes this weekend, which is about wildflowers. Let's talk a little bit about wildflowers. First, what is the definition of a wildflower? Isn't it just like a colorful weed?
It's beneficial to the ecosystem,
yeah.
So it's a little different from a weed. It's not invasive. It's a native plant. Yeah.
Now, one of the things, you talk a lot about the big projects as far as, saving a lot of acreage from being developed and things like that. But what about our yards? I know I tried to do this myself, actually, getting some wildflower in my yards, but one of the problems I had was I got some beautiful wildflowers, and then I got some weeds that were a whole lot taller and much uglier. Is there a way that we can actually do this on a small scale in our own yards and around our own property?
Definitely. First, figure out, what kind of conditions you have in your yard. Is your yard mostly sunny, or is it mostly shaded? So from there, you can pick what kind of plants you would like to plant. So first, remove any grass, any other vegetation that might try to outcompete your native flowers, and then till the soil to a depth of about 6 inches, and then spread your seeds or bare root plants.
And that can actually be done on a relatively small scale. This is actually your front yard at the Lemon House.
This is our office.
Backyard.
Yes.
That's the backyard, yeah.
Okay.
In, Old Southwest in Roanoke.
So you don't need a lot of space to bring in this natural beauty.
We have a very small urban lot, yeah. So.
One of the things that I think we sometimes forget, many of us, we want to have our garden, whether it's going to be for canning in the fall or whether it's a vegetable garden or whatever, a salad garden. We need things like this for the bees because we're not going to have a garden without them.
They pollinate your vegetables, that's right. So our native pollinators, and we always think of honeybees and things like that, but there are so many, hundreds of species of bees and wasps and different kinds of pollinators that are, they benefit from these kind of flower gardens. Yeah.
Now, when you're planting something like this, now we had a picture in here somewhere possibly where someone was out there actually working a little bit and getting into all the dirt. Do you have to source the seeds to make sure you don't have weeds in there? Where do you actually how do you actually get this started, getting wildflowers in your yard?
Definitely be careful if you're buying a wildflower mixture, because some companies will mix plants that are not native. So 2 great nurseries that we worked with were Wood Thrush Natives in Floyd County and New Leaf Farms in Bedford. Great native wildflower selection. And
I guess a good thing about that as well is, like a lot of people's yards, my front yard is, it's clay, and hardly anything grows in that thing but the weeds. So if we get something like that, we're going to actually have something that's going to work really well in this area.
They're adapted to our soils and our climate, so these kinds of plants just love it here. Yeah, absolutely.
How does this play into the larger picture with your land conservancy? Because, like we talked about, you've got larger lands we want to protect from possibly development and things like that, but we got a whole bunch of neighborhoods that all add up to a large piece of property within a community as well.
Well, that's just it. There's lots of ways to save land, and you can do it 100 acres at a time, or you can do it a quarter acre at a time in Roanoke and Salem and other places like that. I think that saving the land is the first step, and then you say, well, how can I improve my land? How can I make it more hospitable for the local native animals and things like that? And wildflowers are a great way to do that.
So let's go ahead and talk real quickly. We've got this event coming up. It is Sunday the 7th at 2 o'clock at Green Hill Park. And this is going to be an exploration of nature, taking a stroll through the park. You've got Alan Holtman, who's going to walk on through there. And I want to mention, when you want people to call and make arrangements to join that, and tell people you saw it on All the Dirt too. That helps us. So when you go down and get the tickets, that some available right now, they can still do that?
Yes, you just go online to our website, brlcva.org.
Yeah. I want to thank the two of you very much for coming in today. I really appreciate it. Thanks for all the good work you do throughout the community.
It's great to be here.
Yeah. And of course, we're talking about All the Dirt. Thank you for spending some of your time with us today. Don't forget, you can catch All the Dirt right here on WFXR News at noon. It's every Thursday, and you'll find this online as well at WFXR.com.